Okay, so before you pack up and move to Delaware, let's talk about what it actually costs to retire here. And no, I'm not talking about Zillow prices. I'm talking about real life money. So the monthly expenses, the taxes, the fees, and what surprises my clients the most when retiring here. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I'm Jen. I'm a Delaware Realtor who specializes in helping 55 plus buyers relocate or even retire to Delaware. So if you are interested in knowing what it actually costs to retire in Delaware, you're in the right place because I'm going to go over everything and even things that you probably didn't think about. The first being, what is the actual cost of housing in Delaware? So in the past couple of years, housing in Delaware has significantly increased. We've seen an influx of New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Virginia, even like California. It's because the property taxes in Delaware are absolutely amazing, but we will get to that later in the video. But what is the actual cost of housing in a 55 plus community? So most of the time, my 55 plus buyers are looking for two things. They're either looking to be in a 55 plus community or they want a ranch style home. And what we'll see is that a lot of the prices are actually similar. So if you want to be in a 55 plus community, you are looking in upwards of 400. It could be upwards of 800 depending on where you're looking, because it really depends on the area, the community, and the style of home that you are looking for. But just to give you a range of the home prices, it's going to be anywhere from $400,000 upwards of $800,000, depending, like I said, on where you're looking. If you are looking at a townhome, that is going to be different from a single family home. If you are looking at a carriage style home, which means you are connected at the garage, that will also be different than a single family home. If you are just looking for a ranch style home that is not located in a 55 plus community, keep in mind, you're going to actually be looking at almost the same prices. You are going to be upwards of 400,000 at least, because at that point you are up against buyers who maybe are just looking to downsize, or first time home buyers, or even just a move up buyer that decided, hey, this next house may be the last house that I purchased, so I want to make sure it is a ranch style home. Also, some people just don't really like stairs and they're just wanting a ranch style home. So that's what you can expect when looking in Delaware. Unfortunately, I don't really often see prices below 400 anymore. So if you are in that price range, Delaware may not be the place for you. Or you may be looking at a home that is maybe a manufactured home or is on land lease. In land leases, you can find them a little bit cheaper than 400, but just keep in mind that you do not own your land and you will always have lot rent. But if you are looking at a 55 plus community or a ranch style home, you will be in the range of 400 to 800,000. Now, if you are looking at new construction, keep in mind that when you go to the model home, almost every time they're going to have upgrades in the model home. So if you're looking at the base price, just that base price does not cover what is in the model home. So they probably have upgraded the floors, the cabinets, they've upgraded the lighting, all of the electrical features. They're going to have accent walls. You're going to see it staged. So just keep that in mind. Also, if you are looking at new construction and you want to be represented with a realtor, make sure that you have that realtor before ever stepping foot in a model home, because what they'll do is they will have you sign in, and if you have not told them that you have a realtor, or your realtor has not pre-registered you or did not go with you on your first visit, unfortunately you are waiving your right to have a realtor have representation in that transaction with that particular builder. So make sure that you are contacting the realtor before you go into the model home. And you won't even realize it. You'll just sign in because they've asked you to sign in, but you are technically waiving your right to have representation once you do that. Just a little side note. So yes, new construction is going to be different from a resale home in most cases, but just know most of our new construction in 55 plus communities, or even in just a ranch style home, is going to be over 400,000, even with the base price. That's why you'll see numbers that say starting at whatever, like whether it be in the low 4s or the high 4s or the low 5s. You'll see it on the sign as you pass the model or also on the website. So when it says starting at, that means that is the base price. And I can tell you right now that you are going to have more than that base price, because you're going to see something and you're going to want either recessed lights, or you're going to want a ceiling fan, or you're going to want this and want that, and that's actually not included. Also, with new construction, do not be surprised if there are lot premiums with looking at any particular lot in a new construction community. What that means is that you are paying for that particular lot. I've seen it where it's $500. I've seen $2,500. I've seen $10,000. I've seen upwards of $40,000. So just keep that in mind. That goes into your sale price of the home. So you are going to have an additional, whatever the sale price is, you'll have that additional money on top of that. Because I know a lot of people don't actually know that. I like to mention that because it is actually something that surprises my clients when we go into new construction, that there are lot premiums on most of the lots with any builder in Delaware. Staying on the topic of housing, let's switch into HOAs. Most, if not all, communities in Delaware have an HOA. I know that is not something that you want to hear, but if you are in a neighborhood, most likely you are going to have an HOA. If you do not have an HOA, like for example, I do not have an HOA, but I also do not live in a neighborhood or a community. I'm on a road that is just essentially the houses on the road. So I do not have sidewalks. I do not have a sign that needs to be taken care of. I don't have any common ground that needs to be taken care of. I don't have a pool or anything else like that. So I'm not in an HOA, so I do not have an HOA fee. Almost all 55 plus communities in Delaware have an HOA. And I have a full chart breaking down all of the 55 plus communities in Delaware, whether you're looking at Newcastle County, Kent County, or even Sussex. It tells you what the HOA fee is, what it includes, what the amenities are, the proximity to local medical, the proximity to medical, and I've broken it down in a very nice chart so that you can see all of the communities, and there is a link down below in the description. If you want that list sent to you right after this video, just scroll down and you can sign up for that particular chart, which is very helpful. Not only for you, but for me too, because I know the number one question that I get asked is, what is the HOA fee and what does that include? Most likely, your HOA fee is going to be upwards of anywhere from $150 monthly, all the way up to, in some cases of the amenities rich communities, you could have $700 for a HOA fee. Once again, that community that I'm speaking of is a very amenities rich. It's like you're living in a resort. Okay. So if that's what you're looking for, just know that your HOA fee is going to be around $700. Now, what does that HOA fee include? Most likely it's going to include lawn maintenance, trash. It's going to include your common grounds. It's if you have an outdoor pool, you have to pay for that. If you have an indoor pool, you have to pay for that. It's going to pay for the clubhouse, the maintenance on the clubhouse. If you have a fitness center, if we get snow and there's snow removal, in some cases it will take care of your landscaping as well, but this is all based on each individual community and each individual HOA, whether or not they're going to provide that. So just know you could be looking anywhere from $150 all the way up to $700. So it really just depends on your particular lifestyle and what you are looking for in a community, and that determines basically what your HOA fee is going to be. Let's talk about taxes, because I know that is everyone's favorite thing about Delaware. Yes, we have low property taxes. Now, just keep in mind that many of our counties have just been reassessed. So if you live in Newcastle County, you were just reassessed, I believe it was last year, but they just went into effect this year in 2025. So my taxes went up around $300 for the year. And I know on the grand scheme of things, that does not sound like a lot, because our surrounding states have very high property taxes. So even though we were reassessed, they are not that high. We do not have any sales tax. Your Social Security is not taxed. And also, if you have a pension, you can exempt up to $12,500 per person. That is why a lot of people retire to Delaware, because our tax laws are very retirement friendly. I really like it because when you go to the store and say you want to make a big purchase like a TV or even like a dryer or some kind of appliance, if it says that the dryer is $700, it is $700. I've lived in Delaware for so long that when I go to other states, and I'm just going to say for Pennsylvania, for example, because that's where I'm from. If I go back to Pennsylvania and I buy something and say it's like $1 and it comes up $1.06, I'm like, oh, and I know it's only 6 cents, but that adds up. Like, I don't like that. I'd rather just buy it in Delaware. So you will get used to it once you live here. The price that you see on the price tag is the price that it is, which is really nice. Also, like I said, no social security tax, and then you can exempt up to $12,500 of your pension per person. So if you are a married couple, it's per person, which is really nice. Now, that does not include, and I'm not sitting here saying that you won't have other tax implications. Like, for example, you will still have school tax, even if you do not have children in the district. Now, they have made it where if you are over 65 and you have lived here for more than 3 years, you do get a tax exemption on your school tax, which is about it's a discount. I can't really say exemption. It's a discount. You get $400 off of your school taxes, which I know in the grand scheme of things does not sound like a lot, but just keep that in mind that you will have school tax even though you do not have children in the school system. So now I want to switch over to something that surprises my clients, and it is not technically tax. So when you move to Delaware, you will need to get a new license and you will need to register your vehicle or trailers or mobile home or anything else that it is in Delaware. In Delaware, we do have what's called a document fee. And basically what that is, it's sales tax. They won't tell you it's sales tax, but it's sales tax. And it is 4.25% of the Kelley Blue Book value of whatever you are registering. So I made a video, at this point, probably a couple years ago, and it was all explaining this. I had a very rude awakening when I moved to Delaware. I had a brand new vehicle and I did not know about this document fee. I lived in Pennsylvania, so I'd already paid sales tax on the vehicle. And I went to register my vehicle and it said, she wrote down on the paper $999. I thought she meant $10. She told me it was $1,000. So that was something that I was not prepared for. I ended up just getting rid of that vehicle and then just financing it, basically that document fee, into my financing, which at that time was very smart for me to do. I'm very glad that I did it. But I just tell people, like, I don't care if you have a vehicle that literally does not move. Get it over the state line and purchase something here so you do not have to pay a document fee. Please do not go out and buy a brand new vehicle right before you move to Delaware. You're going to end up paying essentially that sales tax twice, even though, like I said, it's called a document fee. So just keep that in mind, that when you move here, that is one of the fees that surprise my clients when they move here. So what about the day-to-day or month-to-month utilities? What are those expenses look like? So it really depends on what part of the state you are in, because, like, for example, if we were looking at the electric, some people will have Delmarva Power, some people will be like in like a town, whether it be like City of Milford or Town of Smyrna, or you may have Delaware Co-op Electric, which is a little bit cheaper than Delmarva Power. So roughly, you are looking at least just in electric, I would budget at least $250 for electric. Now, I say that because I'm trying to average you out over those 12-month spans. And the reason I say that is because in the winter, your electric bill is going to go up. And then in the summer, your electric bill is going to go up. But if you have like spring and fall, depending on how long they last, it will go down. And it really depends on who your provider is. Now, a lot of people for gas have Chesapeake Utilities. You average, honestly, I haven't seen anyone tell me that they've had a gas bill over $75, but it really depends on your consumption, on what you use, water, sewer, stuff like that. You are most likely looking at $150, depending on how much you use. Once again, if you live in the rural parts of the state, you most likely will have a septic. And for example, I do not have a sewer bill because I have a septic. I also do not have a water bill because I have a well. But that's not to say that when those things break, I don't have some kind of bill. So yes, it's really nice month to month not having those bills. If those things were to break, they are a little bit more expensive than, say, if I just had public utilities. But just keep that in mind. It really depends on where you are living and what kind of utilities you actually have. If you have solar, in some cases, Some. I say that very sparingly. In some cases, you do get a credit back for the overproducing of electric. I'm going to put like an asterisk next to that because Delaware is always changing their rules and regulations on solar. So right now, in some cases, you could get money back if you overproduce than what you're using. Also, trash. It depends, once again, where you live. The county sometimes takes care of your trash, and that's included in your county bill. Sometimes it is private. Roughly, I've seen people, like there is a company that I know that everyone kind of uses because if you prepay for the year, you use $400 for the year, and then they give you a discount if you pay the whole thing up front. Otherwise, it is roughly around, I would say, $75 for every 3 months. What I can say is that most of my clients have said that they live comfortably of around income $3,500 to $5,500 per month. So if you are in those ranges, you, in most cases, live comfortably. Groceries, it's about the national average. So essentially what you're paying where you currently live is most likely what you're going to pay here. And I will encourage you to talk to either a financial planner or even your accountant just to make sure that those numbers make sense for your individual situation. Here are a few little things that I didn't bring up that may not make your spreadsheet, but I want to mention anyway. Depending on where you live in the state, your car insurance and your homeowner's insurance may be a little bit more expensive. For example, I technically live on the last street of Newcastle County. Like the house next to me is Kent County. But because of that, my car insurance and my homeowner's insurance is a little bit more expensive, even though I live in the rural part of the state. I'm technically Newcastle County, and they're going to go off the majority of the county than they will for my particular area. So my car insurance and my homeowner's insurance is slightly higher than, say, the person next door to me, which kind of sucks. But also keep in mind, like if you are doing like a weekend trip with the grandkids, you're going to have tolls, you're going to have parking in Rehoboth, like it's $4 an hour now. If you want to go to Cape Penelope Beach, like the state parks or any of the state parks in Delaware, you will have a fee for that. There are many different things that you can do with the kids, whether it be jungle gyms or you want to go to Killen's Pond, or there's so many different things. Just know that comes with a fee, just like most of the places and their surrounding states as well. But it's just like little things that are going to add up that you're not accounting for on your spreadsheet. So just keep that in mind. Like if you want to go to a concert or you want to go out to dinner, or if you want to enjoy like the Jazz Festival or the Sea Witch Festival in Rehoboth, or you want to go to the Wilmington Riverfront. There's so many different restaurants there. There's always activities going on. They do start to add up. And I want to mention that because a lot of times that's not added into your spreadsheet, but don't basically make yourself so thin that you can't enjoy life. Also, especially after you have retired. So I just like to keep that in mind. But like I said, if you are looking for a full breakdown on all of the 55 plus communities in Delaware, I have a link down in the description for a full chart. It has the HOA fee, what it includes, what are the amenities of the community, the proximity to medical, because I know that is very important, and what particular home style that you are looking for. So there is a link down below in the description. Just scroll down after this video and you can get that sent free, absolutely free, to your inbox. I really hope that this video helped. If it did, be sure to give me a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions about what I just went over, please feel free to send me an email, or you can comment below, or you can get set up on my calendar. There's also a link down below in the description where we can have a meeting and we can go over everything I just went over, what you're looking for in Delaware. And if you're worried about, I don't really know where I would want to be in Delaware, that is what I'm here for. I can help you determine based off of what you're telling me, where the particular areas in Delaware would make more sense for you. So if you are interested in that, there's also a link down below for my calendar, like I said, and we can discuss that over the phone or via Zoom. Once again, I really hope this video helped. If it did, be sure to give me a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you on the next one. Hey, if you're thinking about retiring to Delaware, you should definitely check out this video right here. And if you would like a full playlist on everything about Delaware and retiring here, check out this playlist right here. And don't forget, subscribe to my channel.